My hands trembled as I unpacked my husband's briefcase. On this Thanksgiving Eve, I found a keycard to a luxury apartment, a pair of tiny baby booties, and an ultrasound image bearing another woman's name. My heart stopped when I read the message written on the back. Before this story begins, please write in the comments what city you're watching from. And don't forget to like and subscribe so this channel can continue to grow and bring you more compelling stories. The grueling 4-hour drive from New York City was finally over. The black SUV my husband, Ryan, was driving slowly pulled into the gravel driveway of my in-laws' pale green, 2-story house in rural Pennsylvania. The engine cut off, replaced by the clucking of chickens and the friendly shouts of a neighbor. My body felt broken. My lower back ached from sitting for so long, but I forced my best smile. "Thank God we made it," I mumbled, stretching my sore muscles. Ryan just grunted softly. He'd been glued to his phone ever since we passed the "Welcome to Millwood" sign at the edge of town. His face was tense, but it was hard to tell if it was from the fatigue of driving or something else entirely. "Honey, can you help me with the bags? I want to go say hi to your mom inside," I said, adjusting my reflection in the side view mirror. "Yeah. In a minute. You go on ahead. I have to answer a client email." "It's urgent," he replied, his eyes never leaving the screen. I took a deep breath. It was always the same. Clients, the office, a project, the same excuses every time he felt distant. I opened the car door and stepped into the house. The aroma of roast turkey and pumpkin pie immediately greeted me. In the living room, Helen, my mother-in-law, was busy arranging a tray of Thanksgiving cookies. "Hi, Mom," I said as I approached, leaning in to give her a hug. Helen turned. Instead of a warm smile, I received a critical once-over, from my messy bun down to my comfortable travel sneakers. "Well, hello, Alina." "My goodness. Did you drive here from the city or a barn? That sweatshirt is so frumpy, and your face looks completely washed out. Don't you ever get facials? It's a shame, really. Ryan has such a good position now. But his wife still looks like she's struggling." "Jep." I'd been in the house for less than 5 minutes, and the sharp-tongued comments had already begun. I swallowed hard, trying to suppress the heat rising in my chest. "Sorry, Helen. The traffic was awful, and the car's AC was acting up, so it got a little stuffy. That's why a good wife knows how to present herself," she sniffed. "Where's Ryan? Don't tell me you came in by yourself." "He's still in the car, Mom. Said he had some urgent work thing on his phone." "See? Your husband works so hard, breaking his back for this family. The least you could do is not sit around doing nothing. Put on some lipstick to welcome him home." Helen huffed and bustled off toward the kitchen. I stood frozen in the living room, my chest tight. If only she knew that I wasn't just sitting around. It was my small catering business that kept us afloat when Ryan was laid off early in our marriage while trying to build his career. But I chose to stay silent. Arguing with her would only make things worse. A moment later, Chloe, Ryan's youngest sister, emerged from her room. Her face broke into a wide grin as she rushed over to hug me. "Alina, oh my God, I've missed you so much. Don't listen to a word Mom says. You look beautiful. Just tired. Here, let me help you with your bag." "Thanks, Chloe," I whispered, feeling a wave of relief. At least one person in this house was genuinely happy to see me. That evening, the house was full of noise and visiting relatives. Ryan finally joined us, but his demeanor hadn't changed. He was cold, distant, offering stiff laughs when an uncle or cousin tried to joke with him. His eyes and fingers were constantly on his phone. Whenever I asked, the answer was always the same. "It's work, Alina. Don't bother me right now." I tried to be understanding. Maybe he really was trying to hit a target before the long holiday weekend officially started. At least, that's what I told myself to keep my heart from sinking. The festive buzz of Thanksgiving Eve filled the air. A mix of laughter, the muffled sounds of a football game on TV, and the scent of baking. But for some reason, I had a terrible feeling in the pit of my stomach. A quiet anxiety had crept in, making my heart pound for no reason. It was 11 p.m. The house had quieted down. The relatives had gone home, and my mother-in-law was in her room. I was unpacking our clothes into an old wooden wardrobe in the guest room we were using. "I'm gonna take a shower." "I feel so gross," Ryan said, tossing a towel over his shoulder. "I ran the hot water for you, honey. It gets really cold in the pipes here at night," I said. Was his only reply before he walked out, heading for the bathroom at the back of the house. I continued folding our clothes. That's when I saw it. Ryan's phone, left on the bed. It was just lying there next to his pillow. Strange. That thing was usually attached to him like a second skin. He even took it to the bathroom to play music. I shook my head, my only intention to move it to the nightstand so it wouldn't get crushed while we slept. I reached for it. Ping. Just as my fingers touched the case, the screen lit up with a new message notification. The phone was locked, but the message preview was clearly visible on the home screen. My eyes unintentionally scanned the words from an unsaved number. At first, I wanted to ignore it. Privacy was something we both valued. But the sentence displayed on that screen made my blood run cold. My breath hitched. I stood frozen, staring at the glowing screen with wide eyes. The message read, "Babe, I slipped the key card to the apartment in your bag, so you can get back here faster. Don't take too long in that hick town with that unsophisticated woman. I miss you, babe. Key card. Unsophisticated woman." Boom. It felt like lightning had struck the roof, tearing through the shingles and incinerating me where I stood. My hands started to shake violently. The phone almost slipped from my grasp. I blinked again and again, hoping I had misread it, hoping it was a wrong number or a stupid prank from one of Ryan's friends. But the word unsophisticated, the same word Ryan used whenever he complained about my style not being modern enough, put my sanity to the test. Who sent this? Who was calling my husband babe? And what apartment? As far as I knew, we didn't own or rent an apartment. Ryan was always transparent about his salary, though he'd mentioned bonus cuts a few months back. "No, it can't be Ryan," I whispered, my voice trembling. Tears welled in my eyes, but I fought them back with every ounce of strength I had. I needed proof. I couldn't act on a single text message. Suddenly, the words from the text echoed in my mind. "I slipped the key card to the apartment in your bag." His bag. My God. His briefcase. My head snapped toward the corner of the room. Ryan's dark brown leather briefcase was sitting on a wooden chair, the same bag he'd been so protective of during the drive, refusing to even let me move it to the back seat, claiming his documents would get creased. The sound of the shower was still running. Ryan was still busy. I didn't have much time. My heart was hammering against my ribs, pumping me full of a reckless adrenaline. I had to see what was in that bag. Right now, on tiptoe, my breath held tight in my chest, I approached the brown briefcase. My hands were freezing and trembling as I pulled the main zipper. I kept glancing at the bedroom door, terrified Ryan would walk back in. The zipper slid open. The main compartment looked normal. A laptop, a charger, a folder with some printed documents. I reached deeper, checking the small pockets on the front. Empty, just a few pens and business cards. "Where is it? Where is it?" I muttered in a panic. A cold sweat beaded on my forehead. Then my eyes fell on a small zippered pocket at the very back of the bag, the kind used for keys or loose change. I slowly unzipped it. My hand slipped inside, and my fingers brushed against a hard, thick piece of plastic. I pulled it out. It was a sleek black key card with the golden logo of a luxury high-rise in Midtown Manhattan. A small metal key dangled from it. My knees went weak. I had to grab the back of the chair to keep from collapsing. The first piece of evidence was right in front of me. An apartment key card. He was hiding this from me, but my curiosity wasn't satisfied. My hand dove back into the bag, feeling around the bottom, beneath the stack of documents. There was something else there, a small pastel blue box tied with a white ribbon that had come slightly undone. With hands that were now completely out of my control, I lifted the lid. Oh God. I wanted to die right then and there. Inside the box was a pair of hand-knitted baby booties, a bright, sunny yellow. They were so tiny, so sweet, and underneath them was a folded piece of paper. I slowly unfolded it. It was a copy of an ultrasound photo, a black and white image of a developing fetus. In the top right corner, the name of a high-end OBGYN clinic in the city was printed, along with a patient's name, Vanessa Augustine. Underneath, in permanent marker, was a handwritten note. Hello, Daddy Ryan. Can't wait to see you. Love, Vanessa, and baby. My tears broke free. My defenses crumbled completely. I clamped both hands over my mouth to stifle the sob that threatened to escape. My chest felt like it had been crushed by a ton of concrete. It was so tight I could barely breathe. My husband. The man I married 5 years ago, who promised to be faithful before God. The man whose success I prayed for day and night had betrayed me on this massive scale. This wasn't just a flirty text message, not just a casual affair. He had an apartment, another woman named Vanessa, and she was pregnant with his child. In our 5 years of marriage, we hadn't been blessed with children. We'd tried fertility programs, and doctors said I was perfectly healthy. The issue, they'd said, was Ryan's low sperm quality due to stress and exhaustion. I had always supported him, telling him that a child was a gift from God, in his time. And here he was, having a child with another woman. Suddenly, the sound of the shower stopped. The squeak of the bathroom door hinge followed. Damn it. Ryan was done. In a flash of pure panic, I shoved the ultrasound and baby booties back into the box, crammed it to the bottom of the briefcase, and returned the keycard to its small pocket. I zipped the bag shut, making it look exactly as it had before. I scrambled back to the bed, placed his phone in its original spot, then pulled the thick comforter up to my neck. I squeezed my eyes shut, trying to regulate my ragged breathing, and pretended to be fast asleep. Click. The bedroom door opened. I could feel Ryan's presence in the room. The scent of soap and his clean skin drifted toward me. The mattress dipped as he sat on the edge. I held my breath, not moving a muscle. I heard him pick up his phone. I was sure he was reading Vanessa's message right now. There was a long silence. Maybe he was replying, or maybe he was deleting it. I didn't know. A moment later, the main light went off, replaced by the soft glow of the bedside lamp. Ryan lay down beside me, pulled up his own blanket, and turned his back to me. No touch, no hug. That night, to the distant sound of a late-night football game on TV, I cried in silence. Tears streamed down my face, soaking the pillow, unstoppable. I was shattered, utterly and completely shattered. On the eve of a holiday meant for gratitude and togetherness, I had lost everything, defeated by the lies, the betrayal, and the deceit of the man sleeping next to me. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the gaps in the window blinds. The pre-dawn quiet had been replaced by the bustle of Thanksgiving Day preparations. I woke up with swollen eyes and a pounding headache. I'd barely slept. My mind had been racing through 1,000 scenarios, imagining Ryan laughing with Vanessa, picturing him caressing her stomach, visualizing the double life he was living behind my back. Alina, wake up! We're going to be late for the community breakfast. Ryan's voice cut through my thoughts. I turned over. He was already dressed in a crisp, sage green button-down shirt, part of the matching family outfits I had ordered weeks ago so we would look coordinated. Seeing his calm, guilt-free face made me want to scream. I wanted to throw his briefcase at his head and curse him until my voice gave out, but my logic held me back. Confronting him now, in his hometown, in front of his family, on Thanksgiving Day, would be social suicide. Helen would defend him to the death and turn the tables on me. I had no power here. I was alone. Okay, Ryan, I answered, my voice hoarse. What's wrong with your eyes? They're all puffy. Didn't you sleep well? He asked flatly. No. I had trouble sleeping. It's just a different environment. I lied. avoiding his gaze. I got out of bed, washed my face, and took a shower. Standing under the spray of hot water, I made a promise to myself. The tears stop now. Alina, today you become the best actress in the world. Do not let him know you have his secrets. After the town's pancake breakfast in the community hall, the day continued with family traditions in Helen's living room. The good rug was laid out, and the smell of spices and turkey filled the air. It came time for me to say my piece to Ryan, a family tradition of expressing gratitude. I knelt before him where he sat, bowed my head, and took his right hand, the hand I had trusted to protect me. Ryan, I'm sorry if I've done a lot of things wrong, if I haven't been patient enough as a wife, or if I haven't taken care of myself the way people say I should. Happy Thanksgiving, honey, I said softly. My words were sincere, but my heart was screaming something else entirely. I'm sorry, Ryan, because soon I'm going to destroy your life, just like you've destroyed mine. Ryan placed his hand on my head. It's okay, Alina. I'm sorry too, for being so busy with work all the time, for not having time for you. It's all for our family. Our family? Or your new one? I seethed internally. Hearing his gentle, fraudulent voice made my stomach churn. After the sentimental moments, it was time for the family portrait. Everyone smile. 1, 2, 3, the local photographer called out. I stretched my lips into the sweetest smile I could manage. I linked my arm with Ryan's and rested my head on his shoulder, like the happiest wife in the world. But behind that smile was a gaping wound. This charade was exhausting. Amidst the chaos of guests coming and going, Chloe pulled me into the kitchen, which was slightly quieter. Alina, you look so pale. Are you sure you're okay? Are you and Ryan fighting? She asked, her expression full of concern. I was taken aback. Was my acting that bad? Oh, no, Chloe. I'm just really tired from the drive, and with all the guests, I didn't want to just lie down in the room. I deflected, adjusting my sweater. Chloe looked me straight in the eye. You're a terrible liar. Your eyes look like you've been crying all night. If something's wrong, you can tell me. I know how Mom is. She always defends Ryan, but I'm on your side. I see you as my real sister. Hearing her sincerity, my defenses almost crumbled. The tears threatened to spill again, but I held them back. It wasn't time. I couldn't involve Chloe yet, not without solid proof. If she told Helen, it would backfire on me. Really, Chloe, I'm fine. I'll feel better after a good night's sleep tonight, I said, patting her hand gently. Chloe sighed, clearly not convinced, but she didn't press further. Okay, but you need to eat something. I've been watching you, and all you've had is tea. You'll get an ulcer. I nodded and quickly returned to the living room before anyone noticed I was gone. As the day turned to evening, the crowd thinned out. The relatives from out of town had left. Helen was chatting with a neighbor on the front porch. Chloe had gone to her room for a nap. I went back to our room. There, I saw Ryan fast asleep on the bed, lying on his back. His phone, as usual, was on the pillow beside him. His breathing was even and steady. He must have been exhausted from playing pretend all day. This was my chance. I swallowed hard and crept to the side of the bed. My first target was his phone. I needed Vanessa's number. I needed concrete evidence before I could start this war. Very carefully, I picked up the phone. The screen was locked. I used to know his password, but he changed it 2 months ago, citing office data security. But I knew he used the fingerprint scanner. I took a deep breath. My hand trembled as I reached for his right hand, which was resting on the mattress. Ever so slowly, so he wouldn't wake up, I guided his thumb to the fingerprint sensor on the screen. Click. The phone unlocked. My heart pounded, terrified he would stir. But Ryan only shifted slightly and let out a soft snore. I quickly moved away from the bed, over to the corner near the window for better light. I opened his WhatsApp. At the very top was a contact with no name, just a white heart emoji. The same number that sent the message last night. My finger quickly tapped on it. The chat history was long. Very long. I didn't have time to read it all. Reading their sweet nothings would only destroy my mental state right now. I went straight to the profile, found the phone number, and used my own phone to take a picture of Ryan's screen displaying it. Click, number secured. Then I went back to the chat and took pictures of their most recent messages. Last night's message and Ryan's reply from this morning when he was in the bathroom. I know, babe. Be patient. I'm trying to find an excuse to get us back to the city tomorrow or the day after. I miss you and the baby too. Bastard, I mouthed, my teeth grinding. After making sure the photos on my phone were clear, I returned Ryan's phone to its original spot in the exact same position. But I wasn't done. I turned to the brown briefcase. This time, there was no hesitation. I unzipped it, took out the apartment key card, and photographed it, ensuring the apartment logo and the serial number on the back were visible. I reached to the bottom of the bag and pulled out the pastel blue box again. I opened it slowly. I photographed the ultrasound. Her photo, the clinic's name, and Vanessa's name printed on it. I also photographed the yellow knitted booties. Every click of my phone's camera felt like another sharp knife stabbing into my own chest. But I had to be strong. This evidence was my arsenal. Once everything was documented, I returned all the items to the bag and zipped it shut. I sat on the wooden chair, staring at my phone's screen. The gallery was now neatly filled with photos of Vanessa's number, their disgusting chat, the apartment keycard, and the ultrasound results. My brain started working. I wouldn't cry anymore. Crying now meant defeat. You picked the wrong opponent, Ryan, I thought coldly. You think because I'm quiet, because I always do what you want, because I don't dress like some flashy trophy wife, you could make a fool of me? I looked at my husband's sleeping face. The face I once loved so much now looked utterly repulsive. I'll let you play your little game a while longer, Ryan. Enjoy these last few moments of feeling on top of the world, because as soon as we get back to New York, I guarantee you will be broken, on your knees, begging me for forgiveness. I got up and walked to the wardrobe mirror. I looked at my reflection. The swollen eyes now held something new. Not the look of a submissive wife, but the gaze of a woman ready to burn a traitor to the ground. The game had just begun. The morning of our second day in Pennsylvania was usually filled with the last bits of holiday euphoria. The smell of reheated leftovers mixed with relaxed conversation on the porch. But none of that warmth reached my heart. I had spent the entire night mapping out my plan, piecing together the puzzle of Ryan's neatly hidden betrayal. At the breakfast table, I sat stirring my tea. Helen was slicing leftover turkey, while Chloe was snacking on chips. Ryan couldn't sit still. His right leg bounced restlessly. His eyes darted between his phone and the wall clock. Suddenly, his phone buzzed. The screen lit up. With a slightly panicked motion, he snatched it and stood up. 1 second. Call from the office, he said quickly, then practically ran to the front yard. The office? I thought cynically. Since when is there an emergency office call on the day after Thanksgiving, during a national holiday, that makes a man's face turn that pale? 10 minutes later, Ryan returned to the dining room. His face was a mask of distress, his acting as a burdened employee deserving of an Oscar. He let out a heavy sigh, sat back down, and rubbed his face. Mom, Alina, I think we have to go back to New York first thing tomorrow morning, he announced, breaking the silence. Helen immediately stopped slicing the turkey. She put the knife down with a clatter. What? Tomorrow? The plan was for you to stay until Sunday. It's only Friday. Ryan, you've only been here 2 nights. Helen put on her most pitiful expression. I know, Mom. I want to stay too, but my boss just called. There's a crisis at the office. Our main client's server is completely down, and only my team has the primary access keys. If we don't fix it immediately, the company could face millions in penalties. They need me back tomorrow to be on standby at headquarters. I swallowed, fighting the urge to throw my hot tea in his face. It was such a cliché excuse, but unfortunately, it was completely plausible to parents in a small town who didn't understand the world of IT or corporate crises. Oh, for heaven's sake, Ryan. How could your boss be so cruel? It's still the holiday weekend, Helen complained, her face a mask of disappointment. Besides, you have a team. Why do you have to be the one to go? That's exactly why, Mom. I'm the manager. I'm the one who has to take responsibility. I'm so sorry. I'll try to come back for Christmas and stay longer, he pleaded, holding his mother's hand. Then his eyes shifted to me. Alina, you don't mind if we leave tomorrow, do you? Can you pack our things tonight? I want to leave right after dawn before the traffic gets bad. I looked deep into my husband's eyes, searching for even a hint of guilt. Nothing. The man in front of me had lost all sense of shame. He was rushing back not because of a downed server at the office, but because the server in his luxury apartment was whining to be seen. Vanessa's message from the other night, come back here faster. Don't take too long in that hick town, rang in my ears, making my blood boil. Oh, is that so, Ryan? Well, if it's an urgent work matter, what can I do? I replied, my tone as flat and smooth as I could manage. I'll get everything packed tonight. Ryan seemed to let out a breath of relief, thinking his excuse had been swallowed whole. He had no idea that every lie that came out of his mouth today would become a boomerang that would snap his own neck later. That night, after dinner, I began taking our clothes out of the wooden wardrobe and packing them back into our large suitcase. Ryan was sitting on the edge of the bed, typing on his laptop. He claimed he was checking the server error logs, but from the reflection in the dark window behind him, I could faintly see that he was on WhatsApp web. I decided to play with him a little, to test how far he would dare to lie to my face. Ryan, I called, still folding a shirt. He answered without looking up. Is the crisis at the office really that bad? I mean, it's still a holiday tomorrow and you have to work overtime? I asked with an innocent tone, like a wife worried about her husband's health. It's really bad, Alina. This is a huge client. If we lose their contract, our annual bonuses could be gone, he replied smoothly. Lying had become a reflex for him. Oh, you poor thing. You must be so tired. I walked toward him, intending to pick up his brown briefcase from the chair beside him. Here. Let me pack your work bag, too. I saw some of the documents looked a little crumpled. Let me straighten them out before they get squashed in the car tomorrow. The moment my hand was about to touch the strap of the bag, Ryan's reaction was explosive. Hey, don't! His voice was sharp, almost a shout. He slammed his laptop shut and snatched the briefcase, clutching it to his chest as if it contained his very soul. His eyes were wide, and his breath was coming in short bursts. I froze, pretending to be shocked. Ryan, what's wrong? I was just trying to help. Realizing he'd overreacted, Ryan tried to lower his voice, though his face was still tense. No, don't, Alina. There are a lot of confidential client documents in here. If you move them around, they could get mixed up or lost. I'll take care of this bag. You just handle the clothes, but I'm always the one who organizes your bag when we travel. Why is it suddenly so top secret? I pushed, intentionally provoking him further. Ryan's expression shifted from panic to anger, his go-to tactic when cornered. Gaslighting. Turning the situation around to make me feel guilty. What is wrong with you, Alina? I said, don't touch it. So don't touch it. You don't understand my work. I'm under a lot of pressure right now. Don't add to it by being so suspicious, he snapped, his brow furrowed. I'm not being suspicious, Ryan. I just wanted to help, I said in a small voice, pretending to look down sadly. You help when you're asked. When you're not asked, it's called making trouble. That's your problem. All you do is demand things and pry into my business. You should be grateful your husband works hard to put food on the table, to provide for you. Can't you try to be a little more understanding? His words were like daggers, piercing my heart. Provide for me? This man was incredible. He'd forgotten that half of the down payment for the SUV we drove here in came from my catering business savings. He'd forgotten who covered the mortgage for 6 months when he was unemployed at the beginning of our marriage. I wanted to laugh in his face and slap him, but I restrained myself. I bit the inside of my lip until I could taste blood. I'm sorry, Ryan. I didn't mean it like that. Fine. You can handle the bag, I whispered, turning back to the suitcase. Behind me, I heard Ryan scoff in frustration before reopening his laptop. This test of my patience was torture. Every second in this room with him made me sick. But it was okay. Let him think he'd won today. His anger was all the proof I needed that the bag was his biggest weakness, and I already controlled its contents. At 9 p.m., after I finished packing, I went to the kitchen to wash the dinner dishes. My hands moved mechanically, soaping the plates. But my mind was in a high-rise apartment in New York with a woman named Vanessa. Suddenly, a hand touched my shoulder. I jumped and turned around. Chloe was standing there with a serious expression. None of her usual cheerful smiles. "Alina, are you almost done?" she asked in a near whisper. Yeah, just rinsing. Why? Is something wrong?" Chloe nodded slowly. She glanced toward the kitchen doorway, which led to the living room, making sure no one could hear. "Alina, can we talk on the back porch? There's something I have to tell you." I had a bad feeling, but I followed her. We sat on a wooden bench on the dimly lit back porch, illuminated only by a single yellow bulb. The sound of crickets filled the night air. "What's up, Chloe?" "You look so serious," I began. Chloe wrung her hands. She looked hesitant, as if weighing whether her next words were right or wrong. "Alina, are you and Ryan fighting? Because he's forcing you to go home tomorrow," she finally asked. "No, of course not. Ryan has an urgent work thing. I understand his position," I replied, sticking to my script. Chloe let out a long sigh and looked at me with eyes full of pity. "Alina, you're too good. I can't keep this to myself anymore. I feel so bad watching you get lied to by this family." My heart started to beat faster. "What do you mean, Chloe? Do you really believe that excuse about the server being down?" Chloe scoffed softly. "It's a lie, Alina. I'm 100% sure it's a lie. Whenever Ryan is hiding something, he gets fidgety. His leg bounces just like it did at the breakfast table this morning." I waited for her to continue. "Alina, I've wanted to tell you this for a while, but I was afraid it would stress you out, especially since you were trying to get pregnant." Chloe swallowed hard, her voice trembling slightly. 3 months ago, when I was in New York for a job interview, I didn't stay at your place. I stayed with a friend." "Yeah, I remember." "So?" I asked impatiently. "Well, one day I was at a mall in Soho. I saw Ryan, Alina, but he wasn't alone. The world around me seemed to stop spinning. Even though I already knew about Vanessa, hearing it confirmed by Ryan's own sister was still a punch to the gut. There's a huge difference between finding evidence in secret and hearing a direct testimony from a third party. Ryan was at a really expensive restaurant. He was with a woman, Alina. She was beautiful, young, and looked very glamorous. Her dress was a little revealing. Her hair was professionally colored, and she was carrying a designer handbag. She was nothing like you. Chloe looked down, unable to meet my eyes. "But what, Chloe?" My voice was cold and hoarse. "I saw Ryan feeding her a bite of his food. And when they left the restaurant, he had his arm wrapped tightly around her waist. They were laughing. I wanted to confront them. I wanted to scream at him right there, but my legs were shaking. I was in shock, Alina. I couldn't believe my own brother could be such a scumbag." A tear fell from the corner of Chloe's eye. I shifted closer and put my arm around my sister-in-law's shoulders. It felt strange. I should have been the one crying. But instead, I felt remarkably calm. This confirmation validated my entire plan. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't misunderstanding. "Why are you only telling me now, Chloe?" I asked gently. "I was afraid it would destroy your marriage. I thought maybe it was a one-time thing, a moment of weakness. But seeing how he acted today, so desperate to get back to New York for some ridiculous reason, I'm sure he's going to see her, Alina, that same woman." I took a deep breath and let it out slowly. I wiped the tear from Chloe's cheek. "Chloe, listen to me carefully." I looked her straight in the eye, deciding to let her in on part of my secret. "You already knew?" Chloe's eyes widened. "Since when?" "Since last night. I accidentally saw a message on his phone and found something in his briefcase. Her name is Vanessa, and she's pregnant with Ryan's child." Chloe covered her mouth with both hands. A choked sob escaped her. She shook her head in disbelief. "Pregnant? Oh my God, Ryan! That monster!" "Shh, not so loud." Mom could hear. I cut in quickly. "Alina, what are you going to do? We have to tell Mom right now. Let her be the one to slap him. Let her know what her precious son is really like in the city." Chloe's anger flared. She started to get up, but I grabbed her arm firmly. Don't tell her now," I hissed. "Why not?" "He cheated on you. He destroyed your life." "If you tell your mom now, she'll find an excuse to defend him, Chloe. She'll blame me. She'll say I wasn't a good enough wife, that I drove him to it. You know what she's like." Chloe fell silent. She knew I was 100% right. "Besides," I continued, my voice as cold as ice, "I don't want some cheap drama in this small town. I need to secure all of our financial assets first. If I confront him now, he can easily move all the money and assets into that woman's name. I'll go back to New York with nothing after 5 years of dedicating my life to him." Chloe looked at me with a mixture of horror, awe, and support. "So, what's your plan?" "I'm going to gather all the evidence. I'm going to destroy him. Slowly. And I need your help, Chloe. Will you help me?" "One?" Without a second of hesitation, Chloe nodded firmly. "I'm on your side, Alina. Whatever you need, I'll help. A scumbag deserves to be taught a lesson, even if he is my own brother." That night, on the quiet back porch, I found an unexpected ally. An alliance was formed. Ryan might think he was clever at hiding his secrets, but he forgot that the stench of betrayal will always be smelled, even by his own family. At 11 p.m., I was lying in bed. Ryan was snoring beside me, probably having sweet dreams of his reunion with Vanessa tomorrow. Very carefully, I took out my phone, dimmed the screen to its lowest setting, and pulled the comforter over my head so the light wouldn't be visible. I opened my contacts and found Maya's number. Maya had been my best friend since college. She was tough, smart, and most importantly, she was an independent real estate agent in Manhattan. If anyone knew the ins and outs of luxury apartments in the city, it was her. My fingers flew across the virtual keyboard. "Alina. Hey, you up?" A minute later, Maya's status changed to typing. "Maya. Barely. Binge-watching a new show." "What's up?" "It's late and you're supposed to be in PA." Without any preamble, I sent her the photo of the apartment keycard I had taken earlier. "Alina. Image attached. Alina, do you recognize this building? What area is it in? And what's the rent like?" There was a 3-minute pause. Maya was probably zooming in on the photo, processing my sudden and strange request. "Maya. Holy crap, Alina. That's the Sovereign Towers in Midtown. It's super exclusive. A-list celebs and foreign execs live there. A black keycard like that is usually for a 2-bedroom unit with a balcony." My blood ran cold. "Midtown. Alina. What's the rent, Maya?" "Maya. Don't have a heart attack. At least $150K to $200K a year. If you were to buy it, you'd be looking at $3 to $4 million for that type of unit. Why are you asking? Are you and Ryan moving there? Did your catering business blow up?" My chest tightened. $200,000 a year. My mind spun, calculating our finances. Ryan's salary was decent, around $250K a year, but we had a mortgage on our house in Queens, a car payment, and daily living expenses. For the past 6 months, Ryan had been complaining that his commissions were cut because the company wasn't hitting its targets, so he'd asked me to cover all the groceries and utility bills from my catering income. I also remembered that at the beginning of the year, We had agreed to cash out a joint CD worth $250,000, which was supposed to be the down payment for a commercial kitchen space for my business. But Ryan had borrowed it, claiming a surefire stock investment opportunity with a friend from work that promised high returns. Like a fool, I believed him and gave him full access. My God. That money, that was my sweat and tears, from cooking from dawn till dusk. Money I had saved penny by penny, and it had been used to rent a love nest for that woman. My hand trembled with a rage that was bubbling up inside me. My eyes burned, but no tears came. They had been replaced by the hot embers of vengeance. Alina. Maya, I need your help. I'm coming back to the city tomorrow. I need you to find out whose name that unit is rented under. The serial number is in the bottom right corner of the photo. Maya. Alina, are you serious? What are you investigating? Don't tell me. Maya wasn't stupid. She could read between the lines. Alina. Ryan's cheating. His mistress is pregnant, and I'm 100% sure they're living there using my catering savings. The message was marked as read. Maya didn't reply for a long time. She was probably in shock, too. Maya, that bastard. I swear to God, I never thought Ryan could be such a snake. Okay, Alina. First thing tomorrow, I'll call my contacts who manage that building. I'll find out the unit number, floor, and whose name it's under. Maya. You be strong, Alina. Don't do anything reckless. Do you need a lawyer? My cousin is a shark when it comes to family law. His name is Marcus Thorne. He specializes in making cheating husbands walk away with nothing but the clothes on their back. A thin, cold smile formed on my lips under the dark comforter. Alina. Yes. Please set up a meeting with Marcus. I want to handle this. All of it. I turned off my phone screen. The war had been declared. The weapons were being gathered. Tonight was the last night I would feel like a victim. Starting tomorrow, I would be a nightmare for the man sleeping beside me. The sun had just peaked over the eastern horizon, but our black SUV was already warming up in Helen's driveway. The trunk was packed with suitcases and boxes of small-town goodies. Homemade jams, local honey, and fresh produce. Helen stood by the car, wiping the front windshield with a sad expression. Drive safe, Ryan. And don't speed. If you get tired, let Alina take a turn driving. I will, Mom, Ryan replied from behind the wheel. His face was much brighter and more energetic than yesterday. Of course, he was about to see his apartment goddess. I hugged Helen and kissed her cheek. I'm heading out, Mom. Sorry for any trouble I caused while I was here. Just be patient with your husband's work. Serve him well so he can work in peace, Helen advised. As always, putting the burden on me to be the accommodating one. Of course, Mom. I'll take very good care of Ryan as soon as we get to the city, I replied, emphasizing the words, take care, and giving her a sweet, meaningful smile that she couldn't possibly understand. From the porch, Chloe gave me a knowing look. I gave her a small nod in return, an unspoken promise that I would see this mission through. The car pulled away from the driveway, cutting through the quiet, foggy country roads. The journey back to New York took hours. The atmosphere inside the car was a stark contrast. Outside, the scenery of fields and mountains gave way to monotonous highways and buildings. Inside, the air was thick with unspoken lies. Ryan turned on the radio, playing the romantic pop songs we used to listen to when we were dating. He tapped his fingers on the steering wheel to the beat. He seemed so happy, so relaxed. Every time we stopped at a red light or a toll booth, his right hand would quickly grab his phone from the dashboard mount. He'd type something, smile at the screen, and put it back just as the light turned green. He was acting as if I wasn't even there. As if I was a fool, blind to the situation. I didn't say a word. I sat in the passenger seat, my head leaning against the cool window. My eyes were fixed on the road ahead, but my mind was miles away, planning my next move. You should get some sleep, Alina. I'll wake you up when we get to a rest stop for lunch, Ryan said, breaking the silence, trying to sound considerate. Or maybe he just wanted me to sleep so he could text his mistress freely without me peeking. I'm not tired, I replied flatly, without turning to look at him. Still upset about what my mom said yesterday? Come on, don't take it to heart. You know how she is. She nags, but she means well. Ryan tried to soothe me, pretending to know what was on my mind. I rolled my eyes slowly. If you knew what I was really thinking, Ryan, you would turn this car around and go live in the woods for the rest of your life. No, I'm just thinking about my catering business. I have a lot of orders to handle when we get back to the city, I lied smoothly. That's good. Focus on that so you don't overthink things, he replied with a satisfied smile. I closed my eyes. Yes, I would focus. I would be very, very focused. The car sped down the long, straight highway. In the driver's seat, my husband was driving toward his own destruction with a wide smile on his face. And next to him, I was weaving a web that would trap his every move. This return trip was silent. But in my mind, the drums of war were beating loudly. New York. Just wait. We're about to find out who the real unsophisticated woman is. Our black SUV finally pulled into the garage of our modest home in Queens. It was 5 p.m. The hot, polluted New York air greeted us, a stark contrast to the crisp country air of that morning. The moment the engine was off, Ryan jumped out of the car as if the seat were on fire. He didn't bother helping me with the luggage, the large suitcases, the boxes of gifts from Helen. He left them all on the porch. Alina, I can't help with the bags. The team at the office is freaking out, looking for me. The server crash is getting worse, he said hastily, without even looking at me. I was lifting a heavy box of produce and just nodded slowly, playing the part of the dutiful wife to perfection. It's okay, Ryan. I can bring them in slowly. Are you leaving right now? Aren't you tired after driving for hours? No time to be tired, Alina. The company's life is on the line, he said dramatically. He strode into the house and went straight to the master bedroom. I followed him calmly. Inside, I saw Ryan frantically rummaging through the closet. He grabbed a towel and rushed into the bathroom. The sound of the shower turned on full blast. I stood in the bathroom doorway, leaning against the frame, a cynical smile slowly spreading across my face. The company's life, or your mistress's. It only took him 10 minutes to shower. He came out with his hair wet and neatly combed back. The scene that followed was truly nauseating. Ryan stood in front of the mirror, spraying his favorite expensive cologne, the one I bought him for his birthday last year, on his neck, wrists, and chest. He used far more than he ever did when he was actually going to the office. He put on a navy blue long-sleeved shirt, rolling the sleeves up to his elbows, paired with khaki chinos. He looked sharp, handsome. He looked like a single man getting ready for a romantic dinner date. Not an IT manager, about to pull an all-nighter fixing a server in a cold machine room. You look really nice, Ryan. Just to fix a server? I prodded gently, folding my prayer mat on the bed. Ryan's hand, which was fastening his watch, froze. He glanced at me in the mirror. His face tensed for a second, but he quickly regained his composure. Well, I can't show up to headquarters in a t-shirt, Alina. I might run into the CEO. It's not a good look. Oh, right. Well, be careful. Don't forget to eat dinner. If you're going to be home late, just let me know so I don't deadbolt the door, I said as sweetly as possible, giving him full permission to use his alibi. Yeah, you just rest. Don't wait up for me. I'll probably have to sleep at the office if it's not fixed by morning. Ryan grabbed his brown briefcase, the one containing his big secret, and gave me a quick, perfunctory kiss on the top of my head. A hollow kiss that made my skin crawl. I'm heading out. Bye. As soon as the front door closed and the sound of his car engine faded down the street, my innocent wife mask fell away. My tense shoulders relaxed. My eyes stared sharply at the closed door. I didn't waste any time. I left the suitcases and boxes scattered in the living room, ran to the kitchen, and downed a glass of cold water. My heart was racing. The at-home performance was over. It was time to go to war. I grabbed my phone and immediately dialed Maya. Hey, where are you? I asked, as soon as she picked up, at our usual cafe in the West Village. You're back in the city? Where's that scumbag husband of yours? Maya's voice was a mix of excitement and anger. My best friend was always all in when it came to defending me. Just left. Said he was working late on a server crisis. More like a crisis at his new apartment. Did you get the info I asked for? Of course I did. I have connections. The building's marketing manager is an old friend. Get over here now. Bring whatever files you have. We need to go over the details. Seriously. Alina, you're going to be even more shocked when you hear what I found out, Maya said in a serious tone. Okay. I'll take a quick shower, change, and grab an Uber. Wait for me. I hung up and rushed to the bathroom. The cold water washing over me seemed to cool my emotions, turning my explosive anger into a sharp, deadly focus. I chose to wear an elegant black blouse and tailored trousers, applying a little makeup to my pale face. Ryan always said I looked like I was from the country. Today, I would prove that this country woman had a mind far sharper than his cheap trophy mistress. The cafe in the West Village wasn't too crowded. Soft jazz music played in the background, mixing with the aroma of freshly roasted coffee beans. I found Maya sitting in a corner booth, a clear file folder on the table in front of her. She waved when she saw me walk in. As soon as I sat down, Maya pushed a cup of warm chamomile tea toward me. Drink this first, Alina. You look so tense. I took a small sip, then looked at Maya intently. Don't waste time, Maya. What did you find? Maya took a deep breath, leaned forward, and lowered her voice. She opened the folder and pulled out a sheet of paper. This is a copy of the lease agreement for the apartment unit matching the key card you sent me. It's Unit 1508 on the 15th floor, 2-bedroom signature suite. Fully loaded with amenities, and the view overlooks the entire Manhattan skyline. And whose name is it under? Maya looked at me intently. Guess. Ryan's? I guessed. Maya shook her head slowly. It's under the name Vanessa Augustine. But the person who signed as the guarantor and paid the annual lease in full was your husband, Ryan Pradipta. Look. Here's a copy of his driver's license. Attached to the contract. I snatched the paper. Sure enough, my husband's signature was right there, above the notary's seal. His name, his information, all of it was real. My eyes then moved to the payment amount. The number written there made my heart stop for a few seconds. $240,000. Paid in full for 1 year. The $250,000 from our joint CD. My sweat and tears, which he claimed was for a stock investment, had vanished to pay for a plush bed for that whore. That bastard. That was my catering money, Maya. That was my savings for a commercial kitchen, I whispered, my voice hoarse. Tears of rage finally fell, but I quickly wiped them away. He robbed me blind to keep that woman. Maya gently squeezed my hand. I know, Alina. He's a complete scumbag, and here's the craziest part. My friend said this Vanessa woman is often seen in the lobby or the building's cafe wearing high-end designer brands. Dior bags, Chanel shoes. Judging by her lifestyle, she's not the type to rough it. She's a leech, Alina, a parasite sucking your husband dry, and my husband willingly offered his neck, I replied coldly. So what now? Are we going there to confront them? I'll hire bodyguards if we have to. We can drag that girl out of the lobby. No, I said firmly, looking straight into Maya's eyes. Confronting them now will only give me 5 minutes of satisfaction. After that, Ryan will do everything to protect Vanessa. Cut off all my financial access, and I'll be thrown out with nothing. I'm not going down like that. Maya raised her eyebrows, impressed by my sudden calm. Wow, my friend has evolved into a mafia boss. So what's the plan? I need to see it with my own eyes first, Maya. Tonight, I need visual confirmation to steal my heart. I need to see how happy they are, living on top of my suffering. After that, we move on to the legal plan you mentioned. I want to meet your lawyer cousin. Maya nodded in agreement. Okay, if you want to stake them out tonight, I can get you into the Sovereign. Their lobby is exclusive. You can't just hang around without a key card. But I know the manager of the cafe there. We can sit, pretend to have a business meeting, and keep an eye on the VIP elevators. Let's go now, I said, standing up. The real battlefield was right in front of me. The lobby of the Sovereign Towers was the epitome of luxury. Polished marble floors, a massive crystal chandelier, and the scent of an elegant jasmine and musk air freshener greeted us. Well-built security guards in sharp uniforms stood at every corner. Thanks to Maya's connections, we were seated at a strategic table in the lobby cafe. From our spot, we had an unobstructed view of the residence elevators. It was 8 p.m. I sat stiffly, occasionally sipping a mocktail that tasted like nothing. My eyes were glued to the digital floor indicators above the elevator doors. Maya sat across from me, pretending to be busy on her laptop to avoid suspicion. But her eyes were just as alert. I saw Ryan's car in the parking garage when we came in, Maya whispered. That means he's already upstairs. I just gave a small nod. Under the table, my hand was gripping my phone. The camera was set to record video in the highest resolution. Half an hour passed. An hour passed. A few residents came and went. Expats, businessmen, socialites. But the person I was waiting for didn't appear. Were they not coming down? Had Ryan decided to spend the entire night in the apartment with his mistress? The thought made my head spin. Then, at 9:15 p.m., a soft chime came from elevator number 3. The stainless steel doors slid open. My world went silent. The cafe music, the chatter, the clinking of glasses, it all faded away. My eyes were locked on the two figures who had just stepped out of the elevator. It was him. My husband, Ryan Pradipta. He looked so relaxed. He had changed into a branded polo shirt and shorts. His face was beaming, a wide smile on his lips, a completely different person from the stressed-out, angry man who had been in the car with me just a few hours ago. And beside him, my hand instinctively gripped the edge of the table so hard my knuckles turned white. Clinging to Ryan's arm was a young woman, probably in her mid-20s. She had flawless white skin, and her ash-brown hair was styled in beautiful waves. She wore a tight-fitting, cream-colored knit dress that clearly showed off her growing baby bump. Maybe 4 or 5 months along. On her arm was a Hermes Birkin bag. I couldn't tell if it was real or fake, but seeing how Ryan doted on her, I bet it was real. Vanessa. The woman was real, standing less than 50 feet away from me. I slowly raised my phone, pressed the record button, and partially hid it behind a small flower vase on the table. My camera captured every painful detail clearly. Vanessa said something with a cute pout. Ryan laughed softly. Then came the sight that shattered my heart into a million pieces. Ryan leaned down and kissed the top of Vanessa's head. Then his hand moved down to gently caress her pregnant belly. A gesture full of love and affection from an expecting father. The same gesture I had dreamed of him doing for me for 5 long years. The tears I had been holding back finally escaped, streaming down my cheeks. But I didn't make a sound. My teeth were clenched tight. "Alina," Maya whispered, her hand reaching out to grip mine, which was as cold as ice. She could see I was breaking. I kept recording. I recorded them walking side by side out of the lobby toward an outdoor restaurant. I recorded Ryan opening the door for Vanessa, treating her like a queen. I recorded the betrayal until they were completely out of sight. After the recording reached 3 minutes and my targets were gone, I pressed stop. I took a deep, shuddering breath, filling my lungs with the cold lobby air, and looked at Maya with eyes that were still wet but now held a different kind of fire. It was no longer the fire of sadness, but the embers of a vengeance that had burned away every last trace of love I had for that man. "That's enough, Maya." My voice was hoarse but firm. "I've got what I needed. Call Marcus Thorne tonight. I want to see him tomorrow morning. There's no turning back." Maya nodded decisively. "We'll destroy him, Alina. Down to the very last root." The next morning, New York was still quiet in the post-Thanksgiving lull. But in a prestigious law firm in a midtown skyscraper, the tension was building. I sat in a comfortable leather chair in the office of Marcus Thorne, Esquire, a man in his 40s with thick-framed glasses and a sharply analytical expression. He was watching the video I had recorded last night on his laptop. Maya sat beside me, my silent support. Marcus paused the video right at the moment Ryan caressed Vanessa's stomach. He swiveled his chair to face me, steepling his fingers on his large mahogany desk. "This is very solid evidence, Miss Perdipta," Marcus began, his baritone voice calm and controlled. "This video, combined with the ultrasound photo and the apartment lease funded by your joint assets, is more than enough to win a divorce filing on the grounds of adultery and financial abandonment." "I don't just want a divorce, Mr. Thorne," I said coldly. "I want him to suffer. That $250,000 was my hard-earned money. The house we live in, even though it's in both our names, I paid the down payment on. I won't let a single penny go to that woman." Marcus smiled faintly, a professional smile that showed he appreciated a client who knew what she wanted. "Good. That's the spirit I look for. Most women come in here crying, just wanting a quick divorce. In the end, they lose a fortune when the marital assets are split 50-50 and their scumbag husband gets to live comfortably with his mistress." He stood up, walked to a whiteboard on his wall, and picked up a marker. "If you want to destroy him financially, we have to play it smart. Don't file for divorce yet. Don't confront him. Act like the most naive, most obedient wife in the world." Marcus wrote the number 1 and the word charade on the board. "What do you mean?" Maya asked for me. "I mean secure all the assets before you drop the bomb," Marcus said, his gaze sharp. "Right now, your husband's judgment is clouded. A man in the throes of a passionate affair, especially with a young, pregnant mistress, loses all financial logic. He will do anything to avoid being bothered by his legal wife. He wants peace at home so he can have freedom outside." "So what do I do?" I asked, starting to understand. Marcus wrote the number 2 and the words asset transfer. "First, the joint account. You said your catering money is in there, and there's still a decent balance. You need to withdraw all of it and move it to a personal business account. Come up with a very believable reason. Business expansion, buying supplies in bulk, whatever it takes to get him to verbally agree. Because it's a joint account, if he agrees to the transfer, even verbally under false pretenses, your position in court will be stronger that the funds were allocated for your business." I nodded. The joint account had about $50,000 left. It was a good start for my new life. "Second, the house title," Marcus continued, his eyes narrowing strategically. "This is trickier because it's in both your names, making it a marital asset. But we can use a business loan as a front. You tell your husband you want to use the house as collateral for a business loan from the bank because your catering orders have exploded. A husband who's busy spending money on his mistress won't want to think too hard. If he signs the home equity line of credit application, the money is dispersed into your personal account. Let the bank foreclose on the house. You can buy a new one later with the money you've secured." I was stunned. The plan was audacious but brilliant. If the house was foreclosed on because the loan wasn't paid, Ryan would have nowhere to live but his rented apartment, whose lease would be up in less than a year. And third, Marcus sat back down, his expression serious. "We will draft the divorce petition now. We'll include all the evidence, but we will only file it with the court after all your assets are secure, and on the day that will be most devastating to his pride." I swallowed. "When is that, Mr. Thorne?" Does he have an important event coming up? A promotion? Or a significant moment for his mistress?" Marcus prompted. My mind raced. I remembered the date circled in red on Ryan's digital calendar when I'd gone through his phone. "Next week. Next Friday is Vanessa's 25th birthday," I said slowly. In his texts, Ryan promised to throw her a small surprise party at the apartment with a few of her close friends. Marcus's smile widened. "Beside me." Maya, he held her breath. "Perfect," Marcus said, his voice firm. We will have the divorce summons, the empty bank statements, and the evidence of his affair delivered directly to him, right in the middle of his mistress's birthday party. We will burn his entire stage down in front of his own audience. I felt a hot rush of adrenaline. The pain in my heart was slowly being replaced by the anticipation of sweet, calculated revenge. The plan was flawless. I would expose all his lies, drain all his resources, and leave him to rot in the hole he dug for himself. 2 days after my meeting with Marcus, Ryan finally came home from his work crisis. He'd been gone for 3 days, claiming the server was fixed but still needed monitoring. He walked in with a cheerful face, carrying a box of my favorite cannolis. His act as the slightly guilty husband who had to work through the holiday was impeccable. If I didn't know the truth, I might have hugged him. "Alina, sorry, I'm just getting home. I brought you some cannolis," he said, placing the box on the kitchen counter. I was in the kitchen chopping vegetables. I put down my knife, washed my hands, and walked over to him with the widest, fakest smile I had ever produced. "Oh, thank you so much, Ryan. I was just craving something sweet," I said enthusiastically. I took his hand and kissed it gently. "You must be so exhausted. Did you get to shower at the office? I can draw you a hot bath." Ryan looked immensely relieved. He must have expected me to chew him out for abandoning me over the holiday. I showered at the office. "Yeah, I'm exhausted. My back is killing me. Here, sit down. Let me give you a quick massage," I offered, my voice soft and inviting. Ryan sat down at the dining table, and I stood behind him, kneading his stiff shoulders and neck. I used this moment, when he was most relaxed and least suspicious, to execute the first phase of Marcus's plan. "Ryan," I said softly, still massaging his shoulders. He had his eyes closed, enjoying the massage. "This morning I got a call from my main food supplier. They said if I want to take on a year-long contract to supply meals for a big factory out on Long Island, I have to make a down payment on the raw materials by tomorrow. The order is huge, Ryan. 300 meals a day." Ryan opened his eyes slightly. "Wow, that's great news." "Alina." "It is. It could make up for all the losses during the pandemic. The only problem is, I'm short on capital. I need about $100,000 to buy new industrial-grade kitchen equipment and lease an extra delivery van." I paused, letting the silence hang in the air. "So?" he asked, his focus waning as my massage hit all the right spots. Can I withdraw $100,000 from our joint savings account? There will still be $50,000 left for emergencies. It would be such a shame to lose this contract, Ryan. The net profit could be $20,000 a month, and half of the profits can go toward our future baby fund. I intentionally used the baby card, the keyword that was currently dominating his thoughts. Thanks to Vanessa, Ryan was quiet for a moment. I could feel his shoulder muscles tense up. He was probably calculating if the remaining money would be enough to support Vanessa's expensive lifestyle. But on the other hand, the offer of $20,000 a month in profit was too tempting to pass up. He wouldn't have to worry about giving me money for groceries if my business was that successful. "Are you sure you can handle it, Alina?" "You'll be exhausted," he asked, feigning concern when I knew he was just looking for a justification. "Of course I can. I'll hire 2 new assistants. Please, Ryan? I have to transfer the money to the supplier tomorrow morning before the prices go up." I pressed, my tone pleading and sweet. Ryan let out a long sigh. A cheating man's primary goal is to avoid conflict with his legal wife. "All right, fine. Take the $100,000, but don't touch the rest, okay? We need it for emergencies, like if the car breaks down." I celebrated silently. "Bingo! Thank you, Ryan. You're the most supportive husband ever," I said, hugging his neck from behind. That very night, I transferred $100,000 from our joint account to my business account. The next day, I transferred another $45,000, labeling it payment for specialty spices vendor, leaving only $5,000 in the joint account. Let him be angry when he found out. By then, the divorce papers would be in his hands, but I didn't stop there. The second part of Marcus's plan was to secure the house. 2 days before Vanessa's birthday, I approached Ryan as he was getting ready for work. In my hands was a stack of documents that a contact at Maya's bank had helped me prepare. "Ryan, sorry to bother you. Can I get your signature on something really quick?" I asked, holding out a pen. Ryan, who was rushing to tie his tie, turned with a frown. "A signature for what, Alina? I'm already late for a morning meeting. It's just some paperwork from the bank. I went yesterday to set up a separate account for the catering business to make taxes easier. The bank needs your signature as my husband to validate our home address as the official business address. It's just a standard procedure," they said. "For business verification." I lied smoothly, without blinking, my face a mask of innocence. The document had the bank's official letterhead. The top page was, indeed, a business address validation form. But the second page, neatly tucked underneath with only the signature line visible, was a home equity line of credit HELOC agreement, allowing me to borrow against the maximum value of our home. Ryan glanced at the stack of papers impatiently. His mind wasn't on bank forms. His eyes kept darting to his watch. God, banks are so bureaucratic now. "Okay, where do I sign?" he asked, annoyed. I pointed to the bottom of the first document. He signed it quickly. Then I flipped the page, revealing the bottom of the second, fatal document. "Just one more here, Ryan. Above your name." Without reading a single paragraph above it, without scrutinizing any of the clauses, Ryan signed his name in black ink. A legally binding signature. "That's it? I have to go. I'll probably be home late again tonight," he said, grabbing his car keys. "Okay, Ryan. Drive safe," I replied sweetly, watching him leave from the window. The moment his car disappeared around the corner, I held the signed document up in the air. My hand was shaking, but a triumphant smile spread across my face. The joint account was nearly empty. The house was now mine to leverage, thanks to his signature. I would head to the bank this afternoon to cash it out and deposit it into my personal account. Financially, Ryan Pradipta had just signed his own bankruptcy notice. Game over, Ryan, I thought, a wave of euphoria washing over me. Now for the final step, dropping the atomic bomb right in his face. And the face of his mistress, on the 27th, the day before Vanessa's birthday. My preparations were complete. All funds from the joint account were secure in my business account. The HELOC had been approved by the bank, and the funds had been transferred to my personal account. Ryan had no idea that the financial ground beneath his feet had been completely leveled. He was too busy planning a surprise party for his mistress. That evening, I sat in the living room, the TV on mute, and called Chloe. "Hey, where are you?" I asked when she answered. "In my room, Alina. Mom's watching her soap operas. Is everything ready?" Chloe's voice was a whisper, filled with anticipation. Since I had told her the grand plan, she had become my most reliable secret ally. "It is. Execution is tomorrow," I replied calmly. "The train tickets for you and your mom are in your WhatsApp. It's an 8 a.m. train. You'll be in the city by the afternoon." "Okay, Alina. I'm already packed. But what excuse do I give Mom to get her to come to New York on such short notice?" A small smile touched my lips. "Easy. Tell her I bought the tickets because Ryan got a huge promotion at work and he's throwing a small celebration at a secret location. Tell her it's a surprise from me, so she is absolutely not allowed to call or text him until tomorrow night. You know how easily she melts when she hears about a promotion for her golden child." I heard a small laugh from the other end. "That's brilliant, Alina. Mom will be so excited. But I'm so nervous. Are you really mentally prepared to face her when she finds out the truth?" "I have no heart left to be broken, Chloe," I said flatly. "In fact, she needs to see her precious son's behavior for herself. Maybe then she'll stop blaming me for every little thing in our marriage." "You're right. I'm with you 100%. I'll text you when we're on the train." The next morning, the 28th, Judgment Day, Ryan woke up earlier than usual, whistling as he came out of the shower. He chose a casual, light blue button-down shirt, styled his hair perfectly, and put on more cologne than usual. Up early, Ryan. A big day? I asked, handing him a cup of black coffee. Yeah, Alina. I have a networking dinner tonight with some out-of-town executives. It's about a new contract. I'll probably be home really late. Or I might just stay at a hotel near the office if it goes on all night. You can go to bed early. Just make sure to lock the doors. He delivered the lie as smoothly as a seasoned actor. I looked at his reflection in the mirror. He smiled at me, the same smile that had once made me fall in love now made my stomach turn. Oh, a dinner with executives. Must be somewhere fancy. Well, good luck, Ryan. I hope you get the contract. I replied sweetly, putting a slight emphasis on the word contract. Thanks for the support, honey. He turned and gave me a quick kiss on the forehead. A Judas kiss. I'm heading out. The moment his car left the garage, I ran to my room and opened a small suitcase. The divorce petition. Neatly printed by Marcus's office. The empty bank statements. The copy of the HELOC agreement. And printed photos of the ultrasound and their text messages, all of it was in a maroon leather portfolio. My weapon of mass destruction was ready. At 2 p.m., I picked up Chloe and Helen from Penn Station. Helen stepped off the train, beaming, wearing her best silk dress and gold bracelets. Oh, Alina, you really didn't have to go to all this trouble, buying us first-class tickets. But I'm so proud of Ryan getting a promotion. He's such a smart, hard-working boy. Helen chattered as she got into my car. He certainly has been working hard lately, Mom. I replied, catching Chloe's eye in the rear-view mirror. Chloe just looked down, nervously clutching her purse. So where are we going? Straight to your house for this celebration? Helen asked, as my car turned not toward Queens, but downtown toward the glittering skyscrapers of Midtown. No, Mom. The celebration isn't at our house. Ryan is somewhere else. We're going straight there to surprise him. He'll be so shocked to see you, I said casually, pressing the gas pedal a little harder. The sun began to set. The biggest performance of my life was about to begin. My car pulled into the parking garage of the Sovereign Towers. Helen peered out the window, her eyes wide as she took in the luxury cars and glass-encased skyscrapers around us. Alina, this is a fancy apartment building. Why are we here? Is Ryan's company party here? Confusion was starting to cloud her face. Yes, Mom. Ryan is inside. Let's go. I turned off the engine, grabbed the maroon portfolio, and held it to my chest. In the lobby, Maya was waiting for us. She wore a black blazer, looking every bit the part of a high-powered executive. She walked over to us. Ready, Alina? Maya whispered. She glanced at Helen and Chloe. Ready. Is the access secure? I whispered back. All set. I have a guest master keycard. The security guard on duty tonight is an acquaintance. We can go straight up to the 15th floor, Maya replied confidently. I turned to my mother-in-law. Mom, this is my friend, Maya. She's going to help us get upstairs. Helen just nodded stiffly, her usual arrogance shrinking in the face of such opulence. The four of us stepped into the VIP elevator. The digital numbers climbed quickly. Sure. Shisu. Shawu. Ding. The elevator doors opened onto a quiet, carpeted hallway that muffled our footsteps. The cold air from the central AC was biting, but my hands were sweating with adrenaline. That's the unit. 1508. Maya pointed with her chin toward an elegant carved oak door at the end of the hall. We stopped right in front of it. Faintly, we could hear the sound of upbeat pop music and the laughter of several people. The small party was already underway. Alina, is this really the place? It sounds like a party for young people, Helen said, touching my arm, her doubt growing. Are you sure you have the right address? I'm sure, Mom. Just get ready to congratulate your favorite son, I replied coldly. I looked at Chloe. My sister-in-law's face was pale, but she gave me a small nod, signaling me to proceed. Maya stood slightly behind me, her arms crossed, ready to be my witness and my guard. I took a deep breath, filling my lungs with the courage I had been gathering for weeks. No more submissive Alina. No more unsophisticated Alina who could be trampled on. I raised my hand and knocked on the wooden door, hard and rhythmic. Knock, knock, knock. The laughter inside immediately stopped. We heard heavy footsteps approaching the door. Hold on. I think the food delivery is here, babe. Ryan's voice came clearly through the door. My husband's voice, calling another woman, babe. Helen stiffened beside me. Click. The doorknob turned. The door swung open. Ryan stood in the doorway, wearing a casual white t-shirt, shorts, and a silly paper cone hat that said Happy Birthday. The wide smile on his face, ready to greet a delivery driver, instantly froze. His eyes widened until they nearly bulged from their sockets. His jaw dropped. His face, which had been flushed with happiness moments before, turned as white as a sheet of paper. Alina. His voice was a strangled whisper, as if a rock were lodged in his throat. His eyes darted to my side. Mom! Chloe! Surprise. That's what he got. A surprise that would end his reign. Surprise, Ryan, I said with the most lethal smile I had ever worn. Can we come in? It wouldn't be right to have this networking dinner with your executives out in the hallway. Without waiting for his permission, I pushed past him, stepping into the luxury apartment. Maya, Chloe, and a shell-shocked Helen followed me inside. The moment I stepped into the living room, the disgusting scene was laid out before me. Pastel-colored balloons decorated the ceiling. In the middle of the room sat a woman in a tight, peach-colored satin dress that accentuated her pregnant belly. Vanessa. Surrounding her were three of her equally flashy friends. On the glass coffee table was a large birthday cake with the words, Happy 25th birthday, Vanessa. Love, Daddy Ryan and baby, written in pink frosting. Time seemed to stop. Vanessa's friends exchanged awkward glances. Vanessa herself stared at us with a sharp frown, annoyed that her party had been interrupted by uninvited guests. Babe, who are these people? Why did you let them in? Where's security? Vanessa whined, looking at Ryan, who was still frozen by the door, trembling. Helen, who had been silently trying to process what she was seeing, finally exploded. Her eyes shot from the cake to Vanessa's stomach, then back to Ryan. Ryan! Helen's shriek cut through the room, high-pitched and full of despair and rage. Who is this pregnant woman? Ryan, who is she? What does that cake mean? Answer me. Ryan stumbled forward, his hands shaking, trying to reach for his mother's arm. Mom, calm down. I can explain. It's not what you think. Slap. A hard slap landed squarely on Ryan's right cheek. It didn't come from me. It came from Helen. The hand that had always caressed him now struck him with full force. The sound echoed in the spacious room. Don't you touch me! Are you insane, Ryan? You have a good wife waiting for you at home, and you're here playing house with this woman, and getting her pregnant? Where is your brain? Helen was hysterical, her legs giving way. Chloe quickly supported her to keep her from collapsing. Chloe, herself, was staring at her brother with undisguised disgust. Seeing the chaos, Vanessa, who had been sitting demurely, finally stood up. She didn't look scared. In fact, her beautiful face hardened into an arrogant mask. She crossed her arms and looked me up and down with a dismissive sneer. Oh, so this is the famous Alina. The legal wife you've told me so much about, Ryan. Vanessa sneered, walking closer. Her friends in the background started whispering, pulling out their phones to record the free drama. No wonder Ryan can't stand being at home. Vanessa continued, her tone dripping with contempt. You look so plain, so country. You don't know how to take care of yourself. It's no surprise he was looking for entertainment elsewhere. And just so you know, honey, Ryan loves me, and I'm about to give him a child. Something you couldn't do in 5 years. The air in the room became electric. Maya clenched her fists, ready to lunge at the shameless woman. but I stopped her with my arm. I smiled. Not a sad smile, and certainly not a defeated one. It was the smile of a predator about to devour its foolish prey. I took a slow step toward Vanessa, my heels clicking menacingly on the marble floor. I looked directly into her eyes, which were framed by cheap-looking fake eyelashes. Country, you say? My voice was calm, low, but razor-sharp. Maybe my style isn't as expensive as your fake Hermes bag, Vanessa. But at least this countrywoman uses her own hard-earned money, not mooching off the stolen savings of a cheating man's legal wife. Vanessa's face flushed with anger. You watch your mouth. This bag is real. Ryan bought it for me with his money. He's a successful businessman. It's only natural he can buy me nice things and rent a place like this. A laugh escaped me, crisp and cold. I turned to Ryan, who was still holding his cheek, looking pathetic. A successful businessman? Ryan's money? I asked rhetorically, then turned my gaze back to Vanessa. I lifted the maroon portfolio, opened it, and pulled out the stack of documents. I threw the first set of papers right at Vanessa's face. The sheets scattered and fell to the floor around her feet. Read that, Vanessa. Read it carefully, I commanded, my voice booming with authority. That's my husband's bank statement. His salary is decent, yes, but after all the deductions and mortgage payments, the money he used to rent this apartment and buy you that bag was my money. Money from my catering business that he stole from me with a fake investment scheme. Vanessa was stunned. Her friends stopped recording. The atmosphere was thick with tension. I took the second document and threw it at Ryan. And this is for you, Ryan. A copy of the HELOC agreement. You know that paper you signed in a rush before work yesterday? You just authorized our house to be used as collateral for a massive bank loan. The money, of course, has already been dispersed directly into my personal account. Starting next month, the bank will be sending you a bill for a loan you can't possibly afford to repay. And when you can't pay, and I know you can't, the house will be repossessed. Ryan's eyes widened in horror. He picked up the paper with a trembling hand, reading the legal jargon and the staggering amount of debt listed. His body swayed. Alina, you set me up, he stammered, looking at me in disbelief. Set you up? I was securing my assets, Ryan. Did you think I was stupid? Did you think I would just sit back and do nothing while you were busy rubbing your mistress's belly with my life savings? I screamed, unleashing all the disgust I had been holding in for weeks. I reached into the portfolio one last time and pulled out the most critical document. The divorce petition. From the family court, stamped with the seal of the state. I walked up to Ryan and slapped it against his chest. Sign this when you get the summons. I am divorcing you, Ryan. As of this moment, I am no longer your wife. You are nothing to me. You are just a broke, homeless traitor. The room was silent, except for the sound of Helen's sobs from the corner. Ryan collapsed to his knees. His arrogance, his career, his ego, it all crumbled in a matter of minutes. Alina, please don't do this. Ryan whimpered from the floor, grabbing the hem of my pants. I'm sorry. It was a mistake. I promise I'll leave her. I'll break up with Vanessa. Please, don't divorce me. Don't take the house, Alina. Where will my mother stay when she visits? Hearing Ryan say he would leave her, Vanessa, who had been in shock, snapped back to reality. What did you say, Ryan? Leave me? What about our baby? She shrieked, hitting his arm. You told me you were rich. You told me your wife's business was just a little hobby that you funded. You're just a parasite. You lied to me, Ryan. Shut up, Vanessa. This is all your fault for demanding expensive things all the time. Ryan shot back, pushing her away so hard she stumbled backward. The scene was pathetic. The two people who had betrayed me were now at each other's throats, like starving dogs fighting over an empty bone. Chloe stepped forward and pulled her mother away from the toxic couple. Let's go home, Mom. I can't stand to look at Ryan's face anymore. Let him deal with his gold-digging mistress. Don't you ever defend him again. Helen nodded weakly, her tears still flowing. I am so disappointed in you, Ryan. I never want to set foot in this filthy place again. You are no longer my son. That sentence was the final knockout blow for Ryan. The mother, who had always idolized him, had just disowned him. I looked at Vanessa, who was now screaming at her friends, who were already backing away, trying to escape before they got dragged into the financial mess. Enjoy the rest of your lease, Vanessa, I said mockingly, because after it's up, the broke, debt-ridden man in front of you won't be able to afford the renewal. The two of you are a perfect match. I paused. Both parasites. I turned my back on them. Let's go, Maya, Chloe, Mom. The air in here is too toxic to breathe. We walked out of Unit 1508. All the way down the hall, I could still hear Vanessa's screams, the sound of things being thrown and breaking, and the pathetic sobs of my husband. My ex-husband. The elevator doors closed. The immense weight that had been crushing my chest for weeks suddenly lifted. I took a deep breath. And for the first time since that dark Thanksgiving Eve, I smiled a genuine, liberating smile. I hadn't lost a thing. I had just taken out the trash. The charade was over. Revenge was complete. 1 year later, New York was just as busy, just as crowded. But my life had changed 180 degrees. This morning, I stood in the grand ballroom of a 5-star hotel near Central Park. I was wearing a custom-tailored cream-colored blazer. My hair was styled elegantly, and my face radiated a confidence that money couldn't buy. In my hand was a walkie-talkie. Kitchen team, dessert table on the right wing. VIP guests are starting to arrive. Acknowledge, I said firmly. Copy that, Miss Alina. On it, a voice crackled back. My small catering business was no longer just a home-based operation. The money I had secured from Ryan was invested wisely into equipment and networking. Now, Alina's Signature Catering was one of the most sought-after vendors for high-end weddings in the city. Chloe, who had just graduated from college, was now my trusted operations manager. She walked up to me, holding a tablet. Alina, the client for next week's wedding wants to move the food tasting to tomorrow afternoon. Can you make it? Chloe asked. Yes. Schedule it at our restaurant for 1 p.m. I replied with a smile. Got it. Chloe noted. She paused, then looked at me hesitantly. Alina, I heard from a cousin back home last night. About what? About Ryan. Hearing his name no longer made my heart clench. There was no pain, no anger, just the neutral emptiness you feel for a stranger. How is he? I asked casually, adjusting a flower arrangement on the reception table. Vanessa left him, Alina. A month after the baby was born, she took off with whatever designer goods she could sell and left the baby at a foster agency because she didn't want to be a mother. Ryan is completely broke. His salary was garnished by creditors, and because his performance at work tanked, he was eventually fired. I stopped fussing with the flowers and looked at Chloe. He's living in a tiny, roach-infested room in a rough part of the Bronx now. He went back home and begged Mom for money to pay off his debts. But she kicked him out. She's completely shut the door on him, Alina. Karma, it seemed, worked faster and more brutally than any plan I could have devised. Ryan, the man who was once so arrogant about his position, was now at the bottom of a pit he had dug himself alone, rejected by his mother, and abandoned by the mistress he once adored. That's the consequence of his own choices, Chloe. We should just hope he learns from it and finds a better path. I replied calmly, without a hint of malice. Yeah. Sometimes I think, if only Ryan had been grateful to have an amazing wife like you, his life would be so different right now. Happy, in a comfortable home, not drowning in debt. I smiled gently and patted my sister-in-law's shoulder. The past is a lesson. What's important is that we focus on the future. My life is so much more peaceful without him. I turned and looked at the magnificent ballroom before me. Thousands of fresh flowers bloomed, crystal chandeliers sparkled, and the aroma of delicious food filled the air. This was my kingdom. A kingdom built from tears, betrayal, and resilience. He used to call me a countrywoman. Now, this countrywoman was a queen who didn't need a cowardly king to stand tall. The game was over, and I was the winner.